I swear, that warning klaxon still startles me every time. How's it?
The United Colony Vanguard.
Is that... That really her. Adrian.
Percival. My God, look at you. You're an old man now.
You're no hassling yourself anymore, Major. Our friend here showed me your sample. Suffice it to say...
Not here. Let's talk somewhere more private. Lou said we could use the back. Lou gave me the abridged version of what went down. Yeah, I can't thank you enough for taking care of all that.
Makes two of us.
I hope it ultimately didn't end up being too much trouble. That's certainly not what I was expecting you'd have to go through. But thank you. I'm just glad you both came through intact. So, were you two able to get that workup together?
Got it right here. That sample? It's an exact match for the ones from Londinian.
Londinian. That's exactly what I was afraid of.
Not thrilled to be the bearer of that kind of news. That's for damn sure. So tell me you've got some kind of plan for that workup.
Well, right now, we've got more questions than answers. So I've been trying to figure out what it's gonna take to access our old Terramorph data.
Good place to start. What'd you find?
It's in the archives.
The Armistice Archives? Doesn't that mean we'd be dealing with the Cabinet? And the Freestar Collective? And House Va'ruun somehow? Guess we can kiss that approach goodbye.
I didn't think the Cabinet would be willing to hear us out either. But I called in some favors. They've agreed to hear us out on two conditions. One, they want to see this analysis you two have procured. And two, they want to discuss what happened on Tau Ceti. With both of us. Well, when the colony war came to a close 19 years ago, with the signing of the armistice, 3 factions were involved in the negotiations. The UC, Freestar, and House Va'ruun. They made a lot of decisions about what sort of tactics should and shouldn't be permitted in future conflicts. All information related to the things they decided should be banned was locked away in the archives. Now, it's possible to get things out of there, but only with the agreement of members from all 3 factions. And as to what our research is doing in there, well, I'll get to that. The Cabinet's the UC's highest governing body. The President, top military brass, scientific and diplomatic division heads. Any major decision the UC makes goes through them. They're the only real chance we've got of unlocking the archives. So without their blessing, we're flying blind. It can be a daunting experience. Which is why I wanted to make sure, before you agreed to anything, we gave you the whole truth. Percival and I, we're not just researchers. We were military scientists, ran a division of the UC together that deployed aliens on the battlefield as weapons.
Place I was hiding out. That was our unit's home base.
After some early fits and starts at other facilities, the place eventually became the heart of UC xeno-warfare. A practice that's been banned ever since the armistice went into effect almost 20 years ago. And the UC military cut us loose for what we'd done. No. We were both dismissed after the war for what we did. These days, we're just concerned citizens with a very particular area of expertise. Our damage has been done for a long time. Oh, you already knew. I'm sorry about that. It didn't seem relevant in the moment, and well, it's not something I'm exactly proud of. But it was during that assignment that the UC asked us to explore deploying terramorphs on the battlefield. The project never got off the ground, but the data our team gathered is now sitting in the archives, along with all the other information banned after the Colony War. Under the watchful eye of monitors from all the galactic factions still participating in regular politics. But if we can convince the cabinet to help us access that data, it'll give us the tools we need to decipher what exactly this sample might mean. And hopefully, how to prevent more attacks like the one that spawned it. I mean, I hope they will, given the evidence we've acquired. But getting the Freestar Collective and House Va'ruun on our side, that won't be easy.
Since neither group is exactly on great terms with the UC at the moment, for various reasons.
Exactly. It's going to mean negotiations and deals and plenty of diplomatic legwork to see this through. But I don't see a better option to solving what's going on here. So it's gonna be up to us to get them on board. Because the Terramorph project was doomed from the start. Terramorphs are too mean, too smart, too hungry to be used in combat. Trust us, we tried. The data that's in the archives, it's historical write-ups, anatomical notation, food chain analyses. I doubt they would have even classified it if it didn't have a Xeno-Warfare logo on it. You have my word. It's not a threat. All right. I'm gonna go get this work up into the cabinet's hands. I'll meet you out front of Mast in New Atlantis.
Good luck. You two are gonna need it.
It is also advised to use only approved ship landing pads, as the UC Marines are not responsible for hull damage caused by stray munitions.
UC exchange.
You should head out. You and Hadrian have a big job ahead of you.
Holstered at all times.
Hey. Okay. While we're here, it wouldn't hurt if we checked in at the lodge. Good to be home.
You're welcome back, Captain. If you feel it is necessary, I will await your next order here. Captain, I believe your ship will perform more efficiently If you bring me on board, I will go wherever I am needed. My return to the lodge triggered a full system farewell.
You've got something for me? Talk to you later.
Guess you'll be coming with us, huh? Bye!
You good to go yet? Take it easy.
Over here. The workup's in the cabinet's hands. They said they'll call for us once they've gotten to properly review it. But listen, I know I should have been more forthcoming about who I was earlier. So, in the interest of full disclosure, there's one more thing you ought to know before we head up there. My relationship with the UC. It's more complicated than it might seem at first glance. The UC's actually the only reason I'm here in the first place. I am a clone of a man named Francois Sanon, one-time fleet admiral of the UC during the Colony War, former head of the UC Navy. They called him Ve Victus, woe to the defeated, in Old Earth Latin, a title he earned. The program I was a part of, it was the UC's attempt to create a new generation of military minds from one of their most respected tacticians. Secure the leadership of the UC military for generations to come. A non-trivial amount of gene editing. Clone, honestly, isn't even really the right term for our relationship, thanks to the amount of donor material that was required to bring me into this world. He and I are different on more than a few levels, but there's no denying the fact we're inextricably linked. I'm the last. A few of my siblings, they passed when we were young, training accidents and the like. But most of the rest were deployed to the front lines during the Colony War, and they never came back. Not a day goes by where I don't think about what the world would look like with them still in it. He would have happily told you he was one of the greats. Ultimately, though, it didn't matter. The man I was cloned from, my father, was executed for acts he committed during the war. The man caused a lot of death on both sides. Freestar Collective and UC. Military and civilians. And the things he did, well, they're a part of the reason the UC and Freestar Collective aren't really on great terms to this day. So my involvement, it could be another obstacle they throw at us up there. I just wanted you to be forewarned. He had his men open fire on civilian ships during the Battle of Cheyenne. A battle that he ultimately ended up losing anyway, devastating the UC fleet and bringing the colony war to an ugly end for the UC. But he's also the one who ordered the bombing of the Londinian spaceport during their outbreak, condemning countless lives. Both sides agreed the settled systems would be better without him. I really appreciate you saying that. I just thought you deserved to know, considering how much you've done already. You know, while we've got a second, was there anything else we needed to discuss? I know you got dropped into the middle of this pretty fast. Or, if you've got any last-minute business to attend to, now might be a good time. No telling how long the cabinet's gonna keep us waiting out here. That's actually a souvenir from my time on Mars. The Red Devils unit I was a part of, they were founded by recruits who'd worked some of Mars' deepest mines. Folks used to adversity. The dust at those depths, it seeps into everything. The human eye included. Where the name Red Devils came from in the first place. It became an unwritten rite of passage that anyone wanting to enlist with the Devils had to do a stint in the mines before they could join up. The Devils were always talked about in such revered tones during my training, so as soon as I was old enough, I signed up. And the eyes were my parting gift. I mean, we never spent a lot of time together. He was too busy being Fleet Admiral to deal with kids. I was raised by a pair of guardians instead. Until his defeat during the Colony War, though, he was known as an extremely effective commander. Savvy. Perceptive. That mind opened a lot of doors for him. And for me too. But Ve Victus, for all his ability, was heartless. Ruthless to a fault. In the end, that's what cost him his life. Well, thinking about it more, I suspect there'd be value in sharing the fact that the Terramorph project was, well, a failure. There's no need to be afraid of this data being weaponized. Knowing that should calm some of the Cabinet's fears and make it easier for us to dispel any suspicions the other factions might have about our intentions. Eye strain from the amount of reading I've got on the horizon if we succeed. The Terramorph project never went anywhere. It couldn't. They're deadly creatures, but they aren't xenoweapons. The Cabinet not opening the archives is probably a bigger risk than them handing over the files. That data itself isn't dangerous, which probably wouldn't be a bad point for us to bring up, should the opportunity arise. Then I guess it's just a matter of...
The Cabinet meeting is about to begin. All parties, please proceed to the Cabinet chambers.
Sounds like our cue. Here we go. Ah, Captain. Congratulations on joining the ranks of the Vanguard.
Captain, crossed paths with Hadrian Sinon earlier. Said you've been invaluable to her. Keep it up. Was there something you needed?
Excuse me? Need to make sure all of those reports are annotated by the end of the day. Why can't they just sign off on the quarterly budget already?
Is this an attempt at an intimidation tactic? Because it's not working.
We're ready to begin when you are.
It's traditional for our witnesses to stand on the other side of the table.
You the one we're waiting for?
Think you've got bigger fish to fry right now.
Don't want to keep them waiting.
Ah, welcome. You must be the captain Hadrian mentioned in her report. You have our thanks for the risks you faced in securing this information.
Oh, I'm sure she did.
Yes, well, precisely how urgent is what I hope we'll determine here today. So now, we have two petitioners here making a surprising request. Access to the UC Xeno Warfare Team's Terramorph data, currently housed in the Armistice archives. A request which will require not just this body's agreement, but that of all 3 Armistice signatories. UC, Freestar Collective, and House Varun. Now, Captain, we've all read Hadrian's report on the subject, but we have yet to hear from you. Perhaps you could summarize for the Cabinet what it is you see as the goal of this endeavor.
That's quite the leap, Captain. Madam President, I object to the very premise of this meeting. While no one would argue that what happened on Tau Ceti was anything less than a tragedy, Terramorph attacks are not some sudden new threat on the horizon. They've been happening for generations. To demand we hand over banned archival knowledge and possibly upset the balance of galactic diplomacy because of a single attack seems at best panic. And at worst, a power grab by the daughter of a bloodthirsty warmonger and her associates.
I would remind the chief diplomat who he's speaking to. If it's my father you're looking to address, you're welcome to consult a medium. I would also ask how many deaths the Cabinet requires to act. 50? 50,000? Because if tragedies like Tau Ceti are just prelude to more attacks, I have no doubt you'll get the body count you require.
Let's keep this civil, shall we? And while there should be no doubt the preservation of life stands paramount among this body's duties, Chief Yassine has a point. Will a single attack, however troubling, be sufficient to convince the other factions to grant us access to what they no doubt consider weapon data? I don't think it's enough. Perhaps you can help, Captain. As the one who actually collected the sample in question, did this Terramorph seem at all alarming to you?
That is worth considering. This attack took place on an almost completely uninhabited world. The casualties were minimal as a result. But if there's another attack, will we be so lucky?
Yes, a fine point, Admiral. So then, Captain, given the discussion now and the information you've been privy to thus far, if you were in our position, would you grant the request made to open the archives?
It doesn't matter if it can be weaponized or not. The archives need to remain sealed for now. There's no reason to rush into a decision of this magnitude.
That? I hadn't thought of that, Captain.
An excellent point indeed. The other powers would likely be much more inclined to work with us knowing that. Chief Diplomat.
That point is a good one. Very well, you have my agreement. The galaxy is lucky you were here today, Captain.
You and I are in agreement, Chief Diplomat. So, if there are no other objections, I believe we can agree to give our full backing to make the request to...
Attention. An incident has occurred. Facility lockdown engaged.
Incident? Chief Sergeant, what's happening?
There's been an attack at the spaceport.
Can I help?
Terramorphs.
Terramorphs.
More attacks.
just as predicted.
Good God.
They're here. Now.
There must be another explanation. The creatures evaded our scanner somehow.
There will be plenty of time for conjecture later. Chief Sarkin, order the evacuation of the spaceport and have your men contain the things, but do it discreetly. The last thing we need is a citywide panic.
Yes, ma'am.
Admiral Logan, the local barracks can provide support?
I'll make the order myself. Nearest anti-Xeno squad, though, is off-world. Going to take a while to bring them in.
Well then, we'll have to make do with the tools we've got. You two, we can't risk those things getting out of the spaceport. I want you both on the next train there. We'll let them know you're coming, and that you've dealt with these things before. Now go show them how it's done.
The UC's fleet must be the strongest down there. Now and always. There is no alternative.
Officer in charge is Sergeant Newman. He'll get you what you need.
All buildings on lockdown.
There'll be plenty of time to talk later. Right now, you're needed elsewhere.
I'll make sure the diplomatic machine is ready to serve once you've saved the city.
You can do this, Captain.
You've got your orders, Captain. The city needs you.
What the hell is going on?
An attack.
The AM rifle, grab it! Now!
Stop! We're trying to help you! What are you doing? EM fire, Captain! No!
Yeah? I'll only carry the good stuff. Just kidding. Bye.
Please! Do something!
That's it! Now hit him with everything!
for what you did. We didn't want to hurt them.
The way those people were acting, I've seen this before. They were under the Terramorph's influence, weren't they?
I don't know. They were down at the port and they just started screaming. We tried to restrain them, get them on the train to get them out of harm's way, but some of the other officers down there, we couldn't restrain them fast enough. They just started firing on us. People we knew. They went berserk.
Pheromonic projection. Some Terramorphs, they can induce this fog. It affects everyone differently, but some people just lose control, turn against everyone around them, even if they don't want to. They're like a puppet. You kill the morph, you break the hold. But this means we're gonna need to be real careful with our fire, and keep that EM weapon at the ready. I honestly was just wondering the same thing. But no, you don't need to worry about me. I've had a Terramorph try it on me before. I'm not susceptible. So we'll just have to make sure to watch out for each other down there. I'm not suggesting. It's documented behavior. The result of the projection, though, can vary wildly. Some folks just shrug it off. Others hallucinate. And some lose control altogether. They'll lash out at anyone around them, but still be aware while they're doing it. Those cases, you'll either need to knock them out with EM fire, or free them by killing the Terramorph. Let's do it.
Nat's unlocked. Please, do what you can to help them.
Wait, officer? Are you and this woman experts? Take whatever we can get right now. We've got the remaining creatures locked down on the landing pad, barely holding our perimeter. They said you've done this before. Well, one fire team to spare and whatever supplies you need, but I can't risk them taking over any more of my men. Put those things down and do it fast. We'll hold them as best we can. We can only spare the one fire team.
Heard you might be looking for some backup. You say the word, we're out there on your 6.
You two have any experience with Terramorphs before?
Only the brief they just gave on the way here, but we know how to handle pressure.
Surviving a full-on mental assault isn't the same as keeping your cool in a firefight. Might make you more liability than asset.
We're not UC security. You don't need to worry about us. Roger that. We're on you.
Where are you, Bloodbrain?
Security scanners, chemical sniffers. The United Colonies sure isn't taking any chances. Bye for now.
Still more out there. Be careful.
Yes? Goodbye.
Those things.
It's everywhere.
Wait's almost as bad as the fighting.
Not in a million years. Another attack, just as we're making our request? It's insane. If this doesn't convince the cabinet to proceed with our request, I don't know what will. All right, back at it.
Sergeant what happened. It's over. Thank God. If these things reached the populated areas of the city, we would have had an absolute massacre on our hands.
If only the fire team had been so lucky. Almost hard to believe. Suppose we were just in the right place at the right time.
What can I help you with? So long.
Heavens, you're back in one piece. Well, I guess our people weren't so lucky.
The few protecting the many.
And it would have been plenty more if it hadn't been for the two of you. The city owes you both a debt after this.
We were just in the right place at the right time. Captain, we should report back to the President. Let her know the Terramorphs have been dealt with. Take care of yourself, Sergeant.
Attention. The spaceport has been secured.
I'm sorry, these people need me.
Please wait for the...
Leave me alone. You anti-Xeno squad? Well, you should be.
So fast.
Those people are getting treated now. I don't know what would have happened if you hadn't shown up there.
Thank you, gentlemen. Let your people all know how much we owe them today.
Losing anyone in the line of duty
there you
is
are.
a tragedy.
I believe
These attacks,
we have some things
they
we
can't
should
happen
discuss.
again.
The loss of life, the damage to the spaceport. The costs of this attack are greater than I think we realize.
Captain, Hadrian, it would appear that the Cabinet owes you our thanks for what you did for the city today, as well as an apology. Your concerns about the Terramorphs, well, consider them validated.
Thank you, ma'am.
Of course. I only wish we could have acted sooner. Now, today's events have only clarified our path forward in the eyes of the Cabinet. You will have our full support in collecting the Terramorph data from the archives, as well as a subsequent investigation into the nature of these attacks. But to accomplish those goals, we're going to need the right people in the right places. As such, the Cabinet has authorized me to reinstate you, Hadrian, effective immediately, to your former rank of Major. As soon as we've got the data in hand, we want you investigating these attacks and how to stop them. Will you do this?
Yes. Yes, ma'am. I'd be honored.
Excellent. But as you've both made clear, for such an investigation to succeed first, we're going to need someone to convince the Freestar Collective and House Varun to play ball. Someone who knows precisely the sorts of dangers the colonies and all the galaxy are facing right now. The Cabinet wants you, Captain, to be that representative. We do. In exchange, we're willing to fast-track your citizenship upon collection of the data. So, will you help us? It has its perks. Only citizens can purchase property in the city. We also pay reduced prices on most goods and services across the UC. There's also a credit disbursement when you first join. Help get you on your feet. But above all, you'd become a dedicated part of the greatest faction in the galaxy. If you're willing to help us, we can open that door. I'm glad to hear it. Now, we, of course, won't be sending you in without the proper support. Deputy McIntyre in the Office of Interstellar Affairs will be your guide on gaining access to the archives. You should be able to find her in her office across the hall. And on behalf of the whole of the United Colonies, you have our thanks. You're dismissed.
Heroes from Peripherals rear their ugly
I'm gonna
heads.
go check in
You
with
see
the
it.
Carney. Start
There are
getting
so
a plan
many
together
different
for that
groups
day.
across the settled systems, it's hard to keep up with all the work they're doing.
It's quite the conundrum you two have uncovered, but we'll get to the bottom of it.
By the way, Captain,
These orders. A Vanguard captain. You... Yes, sir. I'll make sure they get what they require. That must make you my Vanguard. I heard you were instrumental in protect. I was also informed. Chief Yassine wants you to know We're going to do and that means... It was a mutual agreement. Access to the Ark. UC. Now, the UC is already on board. Get them both. Very funny. This is going to be hard enough already. Both ambassadors have reasons they want. Now, I'll provide. And I do mean, though, that... But it does mean we need to... Who do you want to start with? Now, a fish... Use your experience. And who knows? But my... Huh. Well, you see intelligence, but getting caught. So, if you are... Now, but there's also... Yes, many. If something goes wrong... Name's Cameron. He works... And someone... All right. And take these. Ambassador Balmore's. When the rest of he's though claiming to... Well said. There's... Of course. But there is... We're not 100%. His public... Scans... Your task is to... Then you search the embassy. But let's hope it doesn't come. The Varun delegation. It seems those plans... The embassy is still legally... We've snuck in. But we're quite... It would at least be but of course... Now, the embassy front, here. And fair warning. Now, if you have... I'd suggest be smart out there.
I have something I need to discuss with you. I have an important personal decision to make, but I need to discuss something with you first. Phew, thank you. So, where to start? Before I was with the Navigator Corps, I was career military, part of the United Colonies Navy. When the Colony War broke out, I was posted as the chief navigator on a warship, the Dauntless. Then you were right. I didn't want to go into detail before. There was a particularly... We lost 12 ships. No. This is important. The ship was barely intact. A shrewd captain would have called for the crew. Well, I didn't have the luxury of indecision. We fought for hours, but the damage was fatal. I gave the order to abandon ship and the crew piled into the escape shuttle. As the shuttle launched, I could see it was damaged. I heard screams before the radio cut. The last thing I saw, they were spiraling helplessly towards the planet's surface. There was nothing I could do. Hello? Thank you. But condolences can't reverse what I've done. I was caught up in the moment. An inexperienced captain making rash decisions that cost people their lives. Try telling that to their loved ones. When the dust settled, the United Colonies gave me a medal. I never even... That's true. Remember when you said, don't you get it? That's why... After everything you've heard, all my stories, you still have faith. No one's ever cared about me. You know, I practiced. Look, I hope you'll forgive me.
Excuse me? Hey.
You our visitor? You'll find the ambassador in her office. Go on through.
Hard to believe it's been 2 decades since we were at war with the Collective, when it seems like only yesterday. Something you need? Bye.
Visitors are only allowed in the lobby, offices, or conference room. That means you. Sorry, everyone's a little on edge after the attack.
I'm going to be upfront with you. I'm not happy visiting anything related to the Freestar Collective, but you lead, and I'll follow.
Guests can make themselves comfortable in the lobby.
Terrormorphs? As in more than one? All that security and they still can't protect their own spaceport. The UC never fails to disappoint. I just wish I hadn't received the news from an SSNN broadcast. We have a strategic advantage to maintain, Mr. Long.
Of course, ma'am. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again.
Excuse me. Are you supposed to be in here?
Sounds like it was a real mess down at the spaceport. You're allowed 3 places. Conference room, lobby, or the ambassador's office. You set foot anywhere else, there's going to be problems.
That woman is an absolute... Oh, sorry. Oh, what? You're the Vanguard captain, right? You know, I was about to board the Nat to the spaceport when the alarm triggered. Sounds like I got real lucky. And like I've got you to thank for things not being a lot uglier. Heard that, huh? Yeah, the ambassador likes to treat us like family, and she doesn't care for most of them either. But look, they said you were coming here on official business. The ambassador likes to handle all that personally, even if she does have trained diplomats here to help her. And I don't want to get shipped back to Aquila City, so you should probably go speak to her. What, you want me to work for you? Huh. Well, maybe, let's go somewhere to talk.
Official business? Talk to the ambassador.
So you want me to work with you? But why now? Why me? And what exactly would I be doing for the UC? The code machine. Only the ambassador's cleared for in there. Sorry. Okay, first you need her bio key, and that thing doesn't leave her side. Better chance of splitting the atom with a spoon than me getting that from her. Her quarters. Huh. Well, that's doable. And you and the UC will be providing me with what for my services? Oh, wait, I thought you were looking to hire me. I'm not taking a bribe. Really? Okay, you've got yourself a deal. Okay, so There's a utility corridor that leads to the ambassador's quarters, which you can access through the main conference room. Here, the key. Whatever you do, don't let the guards see you entering or exiting the utility section, or you're gonna be in serious hot water. I'll keep an ear out for more instructions from the UC.
You're allowed 3 places. Conference room, lobby, or the ambassador's office. You set foot anywhere else, there's going to be problems.
Patching in playback.
Son of a bitch! Cameron! Are you alright, Ambassador? It seems the Council of Governors has rejected my appeal to join. Again, which means you and I are stuck in this colonial rat cage until we die. But I think we might need to. We should expedite the process.
What are you getting at, ma'am?
I mean, my requests keep being rejected because they don't want to add a seat, right? But what if one opened up? The Meister's heart in what it used to be. It's not like anyone would miss him.
Eva, I think it's time to get some sleep.
Just think about it. Maybe we can reach out to some experts at that sort of thing, huh?
Good night, Eva.
I'm sorry. Do you have an appointment? Ah, you're the one McIntyre called about. The eyewitness. She said you were at the spaceport. You have my thanks for what you did down there, truly. Saved many lives. Now, she also mentioned that, and maybe it was just a bad connection, that now the UC wants terramorph data from the Armistice archives, some of the most highly guarded information in the galaxy, in order to protect us all. I can only presume you're here to tell me I misheard her and that they didn't send you, local hero, to futilely beg on their behalf. Tell me I've got that right. I was afraid of that. Let me be frank, Captain. The answer is no. That information is there because it is dangerous. I will not be the one responsible for its release. Now, why don't you quit wasting my time and yours, and go? You're really gonna push this? All right, I will give you one chance. One, to convince me. Understood. I'm listening. The warmongers of the UC will find a way to make it dangerous. You have my word. Less than a generation. Hardly long enough to claim the UC is completely reformed. I suppose you might be right. Easy to lose sight of the big picture sometimes. Oh yes, this banned research is precisely what the factions need to kickstart their relationship. Let's breed a bioweapon together. Captain, I'm sorry, but my answer is...
Sorry. Everyone's a little on edge after the...
Did I not make myself abundant? Excuse me? I have no idea what you're talking about. No. If the Council found out, I'd lose my position. I'd be exiled. Look, I believe we may have gotten off on the wrong foot. The issue at hand is one of trust, no? So perhaps if I can trust you to keep this little secret between us, then maybe we can find a way to trust the UC with access to the archives. You're joking, right? You want... Okay. Please. I spoke hastily. And I know you, my dear, dear friend, wouldn't want to let anything get in the way of the two of us and our factions working together. And isn't that ultimately what this is all about? In fact, I think there's an opportunity here. Keep both our factions happy and ensure an air of legitimacy to the whole proceeding. I can only let you get the information on the terramorphs. Anything else and people will get suspicious. And all research will need to be monitored. Freestar scientific observers making sure everything's being used for the right purposes. But those two items should be enough to allay any suspicions. Good. Okay, let's go get you your access.
This building is Freestar sovereign territory. So in here, we're the law.
They tell me it should only take a moment. Here you go. I hope that'll be enough to maintain your discretion.
Exactly. It's like...
When someone insults you, you want to just beat the shit out of them sometimes, but you don't.
Well, not quite what I was thinking, but that's actually a great example, Marcus. The man in the story was cruel. Do you know why he was cruel? You must
Are you a
feel
member?
what he feels.
Keeper Aquila seems to
Understand
know what
his
he's talking about.
Accept it, and deliver it not back upon him. I may not always have the perfect advice for people, but I try to just be here for them. I think that's what they really need more than anything else. Were you seeking worldly wisdom or just a friendly ear? It would, wouldn't it? Well, if you find it, be sure to come back and let me know. It would make the next sermon more memorable, if nothing else. And in the meantime, while it isn't quite so profound, I might suggest reading some of our works. Among the Grab Jumps is a good place to start. I'm sure you can find a copy lying about. And if you do decide to read it, perhaps you'd let me know what you think. See if it speaks to you, as it has to others. Understandable. The things I've forgotten over time. Well, you could fill more than a few books. As I said, I'm sure there's a copy somewhere. Might jog your memory. And it would give us an opportunity to discuss the ideas, which I would thoroughly enjoy. If you do read it, you know where to find me.
Oh, hi there. I'm Marcus Lestari. Are you interested in the Sanctum Universum? Don't worry. I'm not trying to sell you anything. It's just that this is an exciting time for our church. We're growing every day, and if you're interested, we'd love to talk with you. Actually, we've had a few visitors come by recently, but they have yet to come visit us again. This strikes me as a good opportunity. I'm wondering, would you like to go check in with those visitors and welcome them back to our church? Maybe all they need is just another invitation. And don't worry, I'll pay for your effort, of course. Well, that's why. We want to keep growing our community, but sometimes people can be suspicious of others who are already heavily involved in the church. A new face like yourself might make the prior visitors more comfortable with returning. And you all may learn something along the way. Either something about the church or about yourselves. Excellent. Their names were Tony, Evie, and Johan. When you check in with them, give them one of these slates. It's just a little something welcoming them back, if they're interested. If you want, take some time to talk with them, get to know them and why they were interested in the Sanctum Universum. In any case, when you're done, come back to me and I'll give you your payment.
Can I help? Ask whatever you'd like. My parents considered themselves to be enlightened, but their lives were so busy. By the time I was old enough to start questioning these things, It's not that I don't want to believe in anything. It's that having been out there, in the Starfield, I'm sorry if that disappoints you, but don't worry. Exploration is mine. That being said, I will make. Before I graduate, we called up, and before you ask, the band never really went anywhere. Time to go?
Aquilus has seen us. I had this graph jump once, and I don't know, I felt something. Thought I was crazy at first.
This isn't what I expected at all. It appears the flora they were using as decor has overgrown the entire embassy. Hey. Until later. I've never seen a tree like this before in my entire life. It'd actually be more fascinating if its branches weren't blocking the way. they're not going to need it anymore. You need to get rid of some of that gear.
what you've got.
stock up on junk.
So, what seems punishment becomes providence. A reminder we can never truly know the Great Serpent's designs for us. You have my thanks, and my apologies for the ordeal you just endured. Come, let us discuss. not the ideal introduction, I suppose, giving you a grand tour of the embassy via barely functioning intercoms. I do greatly appreciate your persistence. I suspect the Venom tree upstairs has worked itself into more systems than I'd realized. But then again, who could cage such a beauty? Eh? Tell me though, what is it like outside? I heard the broadcast mentioning an attack. Then the embassy was struck with a power surge and then... silence. Has the rest of the city suffered quite so badly? Harmless spores, you have my word, but hard to navigate. Hence why I was guiding you through the intercoms to restore the environmental controls. And release me. It is the sap of the tree that gives it its... well, perhaps not a topic for this exact moment. But I must know of the rest of the city. Does it still stand? I take it you didn't have such an experience where you were, then, hmm? Yes, the entire embassy was thrown into lockdown, trapping me in my quarters, disabling the Venom tree's filters, and arming the defenses. A disconcerting experience, to say the least. Was the rest of the city spared? Is that right, huh? I shall need to have these repairs seen to sooner rather than later. Now, it cannot solely be the Serpent's grace that brought you here at such an opportune moment. You were sent by the UC. That much is obvious. Who else could just waltz through my door, hmm? And the broadcast spoke of terror morphs at the spaceport. A worrying occurrence, certainly, but coming here of all places, when all I could provide is some enthused cheerleading and... an archive code. So the UC requires information, then. On terror morphs, presumably, hmm? Do I see this all clearly? The preservation of life stands as the very purpose of the archives. Using its data to prevent more attacks, there is logic there. But if I am to grant you access, I have a requirement. For years, House Varun has been known only as an agent of slaughter. We founded this embassy with hopes of shedding that legacy, with little success. In exchange for my code, I require this. You must be the one who ensures it is used for good. Ensure House Varun's legacy is more than just carnage. The knowledge you ask for isn't evil. No knowledge is. It is we who bend it to evil ends. Oh, you must assure me this will be used to save lives, not endanger them.
We'll do everything we can to make certain that happens.
Well, then I shall not fear. Please, follow me. Let's hope it still works. And there. Let it be used for good.
You're carrying too many odds and ends. Time to end something.
I will not have House Varun be known only for slaughter. The Great Serpent is so much more than a god. It is fate itself. When our founder, Jinan Varun, left the United Colonies 140 years ago for distant stars, it was the Serpent that compelled him to found his now great house. The Serpent made us who we are today. Its voice speaks to us, shepherding us through the dark and infuses our lives with the meaning the universe so often fails to provide. It was tolerable, even pleasant, when my brethren were here in the embassy with me. We remade this place as best we could into a home we all would recognize. Our native flora, our iconography, our connection to the serpent, they came with us. With my brethren gone, it has been trying. But the Great Serpent has always provided me a path in my darkest moments. House Varun committed itself to the armistice. This was said at the time to be the desire of the Great Serpent, and I do not believe the Serpent decides such things on a whim. So, when my brethren left, I remained, honoring the Serpent's will as I saw fit, as is the right of all his followers. The affairs of House Varun are our own. They left. That is all there is to be said on the subject.
Got something for me? Talk to you later.
Well, look who decided to rejoin the world.
Will we all be so lucky next time the archives need to be accessed?
Captain. I just received a couple messages from an operative in the embassy office. Did you actually succeed? With Radcliffe? And Balmore? Was he alive? Did they both actually agree? That's incredible. I wasn't sure Radcliffe would ever get on board. I'm very much looking forward to getting the debrief on how precisely you managed to pull all this off, but that'll have to wait for another time. Regardless, superlative work, Captain. And now, I've already arranged everything with the archival monitors. When you get down there, the UC monitor will give you instructions on how to deploy the codes. Follow them to the letter. Here, the UC code piece and an archival access card. The entrance is just on the other side of the plaza across from Mast. Absolute best behavior down there, all right?